In this video, I'm going to tell you about my secret method to starting a successful crime scene cleaning business. Let's go to the big screen. What do we have here? This is what I call the Biohazard Cleaning Business Matrix. Let me explain the parts of it, and then I can draw the relationship between the parts so that you can understand better what the matrix is all about and how this relates to the secret method. Let's first look over here at the y-axis. This is capacity and slash investment. So what is that? Your capacity is the thing that allows you to complete certain jobs of a certain size. So for example, knowledge. If you have a little bit of knowledge versus a lot of knowledge on the topic of biohazard cleaning and techniques and different biohazards as they present themselves, and you're able to problem solve and get really good outcomes, that forms part of your base of knowledge. Next is your equipment. For example, if you have let's look over here. If you're first starting out, you have the vehicle that you own currently, and you have some really basic equipment like a mop and a bucket. That is also forms part of your capacity or limitations on your capacity. People, if you have people helping you, or whether you're a solo operator, that affects your capacity. Marketing, do you have a good website? Is it ranking for local SEO? Are you running Google Ads? And then there is system efficiencies. These are things you learn over time through experience and hitting bottlenecks that enable you to make improvements, which then drives up your ability to work faster and do better jobs. When you combine all those elements together, that's your knowledge, equipment, people, marketing, and system efficiencies, that forms your entire capacity. Now, where investment comes into that is you often have to invest your time and your money into improving your capacity. So that is the y-axis. Now let's have a look at the x-axis. This is the complexity of the job, which can be described as the size of the job, but also the job type. So, for example, let's talk about an unattended death cleanup. An unattended death where someone, let's say someone just overdosed on a bed, but they were found just 4 hours later. So they're not actively decomposing and putting out lots of biohazards. They've just been found, and now the biohazard is limited to the mattress. Well, that's a fairly low complex job. Right, you have just the right enough knowledge to understand what the extent of the biohazard is. You understand what needs to be done. And let's say with your vehicle, you're able to just chuck the mattress on a trailer and take that away for disposal. And you can do that safely. Well, that's a pretty low revenue job. You go in and out really quick, and you're able to complete that job quickly. However, let's say that they were there for 3 weeks. There's odors through the entire house. You've got flies that have cross-contaminated from the scene all through the walls in the house. You've got bodily fluids that have gone through the mattress, onto the floor. They've gone through carpet, through underlay, into subfloor, and it's dripping on the ground below the house. And the house it's an elevated house, but you've only got a foot of space under that house, and now you've got to figure out how to complete that job. Well, if you're down here, you don't have your capacity is limited by your knowledge, your equipment, your people, and your efficiencies, for example. You're probably not going to be able to take on that job. Well, I'll guarantee you definitely won't be able to take on that job. Whereas if you have a higher capacity, that means you have either knowledge of your own that you've learnt through a long period of time, or you have access to someone who has that knowledge and experience as part of your company, or someone that you've connected with who supplies those services through coaching or mentoring, for example, well, and you have the equipment and you have the people resources, you have the systems efficiencies built in place, or that can be trained up for you through your coaching mentor, or that you've acquired over time, that means you can do that more complex job. So that is the relationship there. These lines here illustrate that relationship. So in the next slide, we're going to talk about what the minimum viable startup is, what that actually is. But as you can see represented here, if you have a low capacity because you've mainly made a low investment, then your revenue is low. You can only do low complex jobs. Whereas if you have either over a long period of time, you've scaled up to a minimum viable scale, and you've invested in nice equipment, you've invested in people and knowledge, well, not only can you do these low complex, low revenue jobs, but you can also do the high complex, high revenue jobs over here. So in the next slide, we want to answer how do you scale up from minimum viable startup to minimum viable scale if you don't, for example, have the resources to jump straight in at the minimum viable scale level. Well, this growth flywheel describes how to start and how to grow. Well, let's first go to here at the start, minimum viable startup. Well, you need a website. You have legal requirements. You need to register your business name. You need to get your taxes sorted out, whatever your company structure or business structure is going to be. You need insurances. You need organic marketing for your website, so SEO, a local business profile on Google Maps. You also need some basic training. That could be IICRC Trauma and Crime Scene Cleaning certification. And you need some basic equipment. That sets your capacity, right? Then as your leads come in, you match your capacity to the complexity of the job. Then you take some of that revenue, which is some of your profit as part of that revenue, and then you reinvest that into your capacity, so your knowledge, equipment, your people, and your marketing. Now, over a long period of time, if you want to start at the minimum viable scale or minimum viable startup, then eventually you will shoot up here into the minimum viable scale, which is the ideal capacity to efficiently complete complex jobs at a high standard. So that's the video for today. If you've made it to this point, please consider getting some free knowledge from us each and every week by means of a biohazard cleaning case study. Essentially, it's a newsletter. As you can see, go to newsletter.biohazardcleaning.net. The link is in the pinned comment and in the description. But essentially, it provides a breakdown of photos of actual biohazards that I've been cleaning during the week. You'll gain valuable knowledge about biohazard cleaning and crime scene cleaning. And I'll email these out 1 to 3 times per week. If you found this video enjoyable, please click into one of these other videos up on screen.